Hello, welcome to my latest video. My name is Stuart. I am the unrepentant atheist. And what I want to talk about today is one of my favorite topics, actually, and I do find it rather amusing. Basically, Christians who claim they're not religious. Now, I've been watching Christians more or less for how long? I don't know. 35, 40 years. I'm 57, so I sort of became an atheist when I was about 15 years old, really. It wasn't a big deconversion process. It was just a sudden realization that I didn't believe in God. So, but of course, living in the UK for all that time and spending some time abroad and seeing seeing other cultures in Christianity, Russia, for example. I spent a year in Russia. I spent a year in Hungary. They're a serious, quite Catholic nation. So I've seen a lot of Christianity over the years. But one thing that really amuses me is Christians who claim they're not religious. Now, about when did I first come across this? Probably about 25 years ago. I got a knock on my door. I opened the door, and there were two fairly young people there in their 20s, a man and a woman. And they they asked me whether I believed in Jesus. And I said, look, I'm not really religious. And they said, oh, we're not religious either. And I invited them in, and I found out that they belonged to some minor church. I can't remember what the name of the church was, but it was essentially Christianity branded in some other form. And yeah, so they were saying they're not religious, and I was sitting listening to them. They were talking about their faith, how they found Jesus. They were talking about the Bible. They were quoting from the Bible. They were describing to me what they do in their gatherings, how they sing hymns, how they give praise to God, and how they do communion and all this. I was thinking, and these people say they're not religious, and yet everything that they've told me indicates the opposite. Why would they be trying to claim that they're not religious? And I sort of put it out of my mind a bit. They went away, left me with some leaflets, etc. And I just forgot about it. And then later on in the internet age, because in those days, the 80s, there was no internet, and I came back. I came back more as a sort of active atheist, more in terms of consuming content. Because obviously the great thing about YouTube is I think it's fantastic. All the atheist channels and the atheist experience, and all the dialogue that's going in. I really think it's fantastic. I really like it on both sides of the debate. I think that the more we talk, the better. The more we debate, the better. And we're not always going to agree. A lot of the time, we're going to disagree. But there are. I can see that there are people on both sides of the argument. Some are coming over to theism from atheism, and some are going the other way. Well, I will always try and argue that it's more reasonable and more rational to be an atheist than a theist. But anyway, that's something else. Back to the main topic, which is this thing about Christians claiming that they're not religious. So, yeah, I've found this on the atheist experience. Somebody will call in and say, well, those are not true Christians, or they will say that, you know, um, I just rely on the Bible, and I'm not really religious, or I believe in God, but and I believe in Jesus, but I'm not really religious like other Christians are religious. And I think, well, what do they mean by that? And especially those who claim that they're not religious at all, which to me, um, if you actually believe in uh, Christianity to any extent, in other words, that Jesus was resurrected, and you have a faith. And if you have a faith, to me, that is being religious. Now, I've got a definition here, taking it from the Webster Dictionary. And we've got what's the definition of religious? Relating to or manifesting faithful devotion to an acknowledged ultimate reality or deity. So I think that more or less fits pretty well and brings in anybody who professes a belief in Christianity is by definition going to be religious, even if they think they're not. And there are Christians who are not part of a church, who don't go to church, but the very belief that there's a man that Jesus was resurrected and he rose from the dead and he died for our sins, which if you're a Christian, okay, I know there are some Christians who say they don't believe that. I don't know how they can be Christians in that case, but Christianity really rests on the resurrection of Jesus. So if you're going to tell me that, you're a Christian, oh, but I'm not religious, forget it. Go and preach to somebody else, because that's nonsense. If you're a Christian, you are religious, no matter how irreligious you think you are, no matter how much you may try to distance yourself from organized religion. If you believe in Jesus, if you've got a copy of the Bible and you read the Bible, if you pray, I'm sorry, you are religious. And to me, you're as religious as those devoted believers who go to church several times a week, kneel and cross themselves and sing hymns. So to me, as an atheist, and I think, to be honest with you, objectively speaking, and by all the definitions that I've seen, even if you don't do all those things, and even if you're not connected to a church, then you are still religious. If you call yourself a Christian, you are definitely religious. And the same applies to other belief systems, Islam, for example. Just because you're not going to church, just because you're not actually attaching yourself to a denomination, does not mean to say that you're not religious. So please, if you're going around preaching and knocking on doors, and you've got somebody like me saying, well, when asked, do you believe in Jesus? And I say, well, to be honest with you, I'm not really religious. And then they come out and say, oh, we're not religious either. That's a lie. So please don't do it anymore. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that? Are you a Christian and you don't consider yourself religious? Maybe you could explain that in the comments, because based on the definitions that I've seen, I don't really get it. I don't really see how that could be possible. I don't really see how that could be accurate and true. So anyway, that's all for now. And I'll come back fairly soon with another video, hopefully with a maybe more interesting topic. Bye for now.